Mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my body
Hello,
in
hello,
glitter.
hello. You're now tuned into the A Little Bit A Lot podcast channel. If you've never seen my face before, hi. My name is Kristen. Happy New Year. We are back with another banger. No, this is not a podcast episode. My podcasts come out every Friday. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I said I was on my road to my first 100 subscribers. Guys, I did it. Thank you. So make sure you guys are tuning in, like I said, every Friday on this channel. You can also listen to the podcast on Spotify. So make sure you follow my page on Spotify, rate me 5 stars, and make sure you rate me 5 stars on Apple and leave a review to let me know what you think about it. But for today's YouTube video, you already read the title and I know you're gagged, like what is going on, but let's jump straight into it, okay? I feel like not enough people are living their truth and talking about the fact that hating your natural hair, especially when it comes to 4C hair, is an experience that a lot of us Black girls have been through. My relationship with my hair right now is the best that it's ever been. I love my hair. I'm obsessed with my hair. Like, I live and breathe for my natural hair. But there was a time where I hated it, and it wasn't at any fault of my own. I think it was due to, lack of education and, teaching, like, from when I was a young girl. So I kind of just wanted to come on here and kind of talk about the story of how I came to love my natural hair and give, kind of an explanation as to why I hated it at one point. I feel like everybody has the story growing up where it's like, ooh, I had that one relaxer and my hair never has been the same. But honestly, that was my experience. Growing up, I had natural hair and I basically had a relaxer from 6th grade and up. My mom tried her best. She did what she could. But after I would go and have those pressing curls, come back from gym the very next day after she spent a bag, silking my hair out, and then I come back and it's poofy, she was over it. So we went to the relaxers, and honestly, that was the worst decision that I ever made. I don't have anything good to say about my time being relaxed because I had a lot of misinformation that was given to me. I was never taught how to properly take care of my hair, let alone in a relaxed state. It's kind of like, I feel like you have to choose your hard. Having relaxed hair is not as easy as people think it is. You still have to put time and patience into maintaining it just as much as you have to do with natural hair. And I just didn't know what to do, how to take care of it in either state. It was a really rough time. My relaxer era was not fun at all. So let me try to get into that. I have a couple of notes on my iPad here because I really wanted to gather my thoughts about this subject. You know what I'm saying? After I had my relaxer from 6th grade up until 2020, I decided that it was time for the big chop because my relaxed hair was just dead and gone. It was mushy. It was choppy. Like, my sister had went natural and she was begging me to get the relaxer cut off and just do a big chop and start from day one. But mind you, I had a relaxer since 6th grade. So I never really had conscious memory of dealing and maintaining with my, natural hair. So it was something that scared me a lot. And I think that that's a common experience for a lot of people when you grow up having relaxers your whole life and it's basically all you know. You have to learn your natural hair basically for the first time. So it was scary, but I did the big chop in 2020. And I think what helped me and my confidence at the time was because I was working from home. I didn't have to go in the office. It was right when COVID hit, so no one was going to see me. So I got to live out my awkward, big chop length to what it is now. And no one really had to see me because it took a lot of work, on myself and self-acceptance to really come to terms with it, but it is the best thing that I could have ever done. And I'm so glad that my sister gave me the courage that I needed to get rid of that relaxed hair, because it was done for. And one thing that I will say about once I first went natural was that I was excited to see what my curl pattern looked like, but then I quickly realized that 4C hair has its own set of needs. Like, you can look up, natural hair care all day long, but when you have 4C, I just honestly feel like you have to take care of your hair differently than anybody else on the hair scale has to take care of. And not a lot of people talk about that. And I would watch YouTube videos with other people that had looser curl patterns and just be like, why isn't my hair doing what their hair is doing? Like, what is going on? I didn't really understand. And that was a big learning curve for me. And I feel like that also contributed to me hating my hair at the time, because I didn't know what I was doing. And it was very difficult to figure out how to get products to work the way that they were working for people on YouTube. And that was a really isolating experience. It's like, okay, of course I go natural and then I have 4C hair, and I didn't really appreciate, the gift that God had gave me at the time, because now that I realize, like, 4C hair is actually the best, I feel like, kind of hair that you can have, because I feel like, if we're being honest, it's the most versatile, hair type. I just didn't appreciate it at the time, because, like I said, I'm watching YouTubers and my hair is not turning out the way that their hair is turning out. So that was really frustrating for me. And I just feel like overall, it took time for me to figure out what routine and what products work the best for me. And it's really unfortunate, because I just wish that growing up, more young girls were taught how to take care of their natural hair, how to do wash and goes, how to do their own protective styles and things like that, because that would have helped me. I feel like learning how to do your hair and take care of something that's such a big part of a Black woman's identity, if we're being honest, is very overwhelming to go through in your 20s. I just honestly feel like at the time I was like, I wouldn't wish this on anyone. It was so isolating, and I just felt like, okay, no one really understands what I'm going through. I would literally have like breakdowns and like meltdowns every wash day once it got to a certain length, because I didn't understand how to properly detangle it. I wasn't using the right tools. I wasn't using the right products. Like, I literally genuinely had no idea what to do. And I feel like the cluelessness of it all was so overwhelming. And I constantly found myself like wishing, like, oh, if only I had, type 3 hair, I wouldn't have to deal with these struggles. If only, if only, if only. But it's like, we all know that comparison is the thief of joy. Like, if you are constantly trying to look for something else in yourself that you don't have, like, you're never going to be happy. So that was a big contributing factor for me. It was like detangling was painful. Wash day was taking 1,000 years. And I just felt like I had no help, especially because, like, even though my sister had gone through her own big chop and had been natural for a while, we have 2 different types of hair. So even though mine is 4C, I would say hers is more kind of like 4B, 4A. I think she has like 1 patch of 4C hair. So nothing that she was using was working for me. So as much as she wanted to help me, at the end of the day, I still feel like I had to go through my natural hair journey by myself and figure out things that specifically worked for me, because I couldn't use anything that she was using. So I feel like that's not something that a lot of people talk about, is that, like, you always want to be like, oh, type 4 hair. But it's like, not everything works for all type 4 hair. And that was something that was very frustrating for me, that contributed to me hating my hair at the time. But in the end, I think what also helped me was that, like, pretty early on in my natural hair journey, after 2020, after I did my big chop, I found a natural hair specialist. Okay. at Jane Nicole Custom. I'm always going to shout her out. Follow her on Instagram. She's a hairstylist in Flint, Michigan, downtown, and she is wonderful. Because if you have somebody who specializes in natural hair, who actually appreciates every single type of texture and curl pattern and knows what they're doing and is fully educated in it and is passionate about it, that can help your world tremendously. And I feel like the problem was I was going to stylists who also who didn't appreciate 4C hair, who didn't want to work with 4C hair, who was always, really rough with my hair. It made me feel bad about my curl pattern. And that can, end up making you feel bad about yourself. But once I went to her and went to a natural hair specialist, it just makes a world of a difference. It's like, wow, this is what it feels like to go to someone where they're not trying to rip a rat tail comb through my 4C coils. And I'm saying who's using the right products, wide tooth combs, giving you a good wash, a good in trim, a good condition, you know what I'm saying? Steam treatment, all of that. I go to her regularly for hair care maintenance, and my hair has grown beautifully. I mean, I just got a silk press a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't even know that 4C hair, that just shows how much I knew that was even, capable of something like that. So yeah, that really helped, with my journey tremendously, with finding someone who really cares about what they're doing. But before I found that, like I said, that was a contributing factor to why I felt the way that I felt. And I also think that another big part of why I was going through what I was going through was because of my relaxer trauma. At the end of the day, even though my hair was dyed and fried and chopped so bad, it was still straight. I could comb through it. I didn't have to worry about fighting to detangle at the time. So it almost made me want to go back to that, even though I had so much relaxer trauma, because you find comfort in what you already know. And I feel like when you have, relaxer trauma, it can negatively affect how you feel about your natural hair. A few things that significantly stand out to me about my my relaxed era was the fact that my grandma, she was relaxed at one point, and she would tell me whenever I had new growth, oh, well, even if you don't have new growth, you still need to get a relaxer. What? I feel like a big part of, the issue when it comes to Black women hair care is that a lot of us, the older people didn't really know what they were doing. And then that passes down onto us. And then that's why my relaxed hair was in the state that it was in. Because what do you mean, even if you don't have new growth, get a relaxer? And then I wonder why my hair is so fried. And also, it just makes me question my stylist at the time. Why were they okay with giving me a relaxer every 4 weeks? That is way too soon, in my opinion. So that was bad, and that contributed to my relaxer trauma. And then I remember one time I had my stylist, when they went to go do my hair, they were like, oh, did you even try to comb your hair? And it's excuse me, I have 2 different type of textures going on my head at the same time. Even if I did try to comb it, it is what it is. I have relaxed hair on the ends and then 4C roots. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to get through. It's going to take a little bit patience, and stuff like that can just make you feel so awful about your natural hair, because the second that it grows out, when people are shaming you for it, and that just was not a good feeling. And then, of course, growing up, I had one experience that was super traumatic where I had my relaxer. My mom did it at home, and then she went to go tell me to wash it out. And my hair was super itchy at the time because it was really dirty. And I went to go scratch. And of course, clumps of my hair fell out. That was extremely traumatic. Yeah. So overall, didn't really have the best relationship with my hair in its relaxed state, let alone trying to get into the natural hair world. Like, it was overwhelming. But in the end, I just feel like since I've been natural, I have never felt more myself once I came to terms with loving it. And then it just makes me think, like, why was I, conditioned to not like this? Why were people saying that having a quote unquote nappy kitchen was a bad thing, when in reality I feel like it's the most glorious thing that you could ever have? It's the way that your hair grows out of your head. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes whenever I like think about it now and I have my hands like running through my hair, it makes me feel like connected spiritually to it, almost like the way that like avatars have their tail and they're like connected to like an item or something, like the horses. Like when my hand connects to my hair, I'm just like, yes, like I feel like me. And then there's so many times where like I'll have my wash day and I look in the mirror and I look at my little coils and the ringlets and I'm just like in awe because it's so beautiful. And I think that, once I got an understanding of what worked for my hair and really started seeing the beauty in it, I also, like I said, mentioned earlier, the versatility of 4C hair is just something that like I never got the option to have when I had a relaxer. Like being able to have these mini twists in and styling the mini twists in different styles alone. I can do the buns. I can do half up, half down. I can stretch them out and wear them down. Versatility in that. But sometimes I don't feel like dealing with it and I just like put a wig cap on over the twist and then I wear, a wig. There's times where I'll do a twist out and then, I'll have that in a puff. Braids. Like so many different options that I feel like I missed out on, when I was a kid growing up because I had a relaxer for so long and only wore one style. And I would just say that overall, like if anyone ever asks me, like, what is your biggest regret in life? My biggest regret is not going natural sooner. Like I think about it and it's just like, oh my God, like how much would have like my college graduation pictures ate if I had like my 4C hair out? You know what I'm saying? Like a cute little wash and go, a cute puff, edges slicked down, which, okay, I'm going to also preface, that's not always a mandatory thing, okay? You do not always need to feel like because your hair is out that you got to slick down those edges. It's just a preferred moment, but sometimes it's okay to not always have it like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just the freedom and the liberation of it all and just feeling like so connected to yourself, the parts that I learned to grow to love. But it was not an easy journey, I will say. So yeah, like I just felt like even though this may feel like it's kind of all over the place, I just kind of wanted to just get my thoughts out so I could kind of just process how much I've been through when it comes to my natural hair. People making me feel like it wasn't a good thing, saying that kinky, coily curls are just, a bother, when in reality, it's like, it's a beautiful thing. It just takes patience. That's the biggest thing that I learned here. It takes patience. And if you're willing to work with your hair will work with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, now I couldn't be happier, but there was a time for sure where I was beefed out with it. And don't get me wrong, like I still struggle. I think at the end of the day, being a woman, period, let alone being a Black woman, doing your hair can feel like a task. Just like sometimes if you have depression and anxiety like I do, even simple things like taking a shower takes a lot of energy, especially during the winter. It's wintertime right now. The struggle is very real. You clock out from work and you really don't feel like doing anything. So that sometimes goes along with your hair. Like, wash day is not going to always be a walk in the park, no matter what type of hair you have. Like at the end of the day, it is, a task. But I think changing my perspective on the task in itself helped my journey with loving my hair too. Because instead of looking at it as like this annoying freaking chore, I had to change my perspective on my wash day completely and think of it as self-care. Like at the end of the day, this is something that is on me, that is, you know, a representative, like something that people first see when they see me, that I'm connected to, that literally grows from me. So maybe I should, you know, speak some life into it and be more gentle with myself. And this is something that I was able to work on even in therapy, which helps that I have a Black therapist who also has 4C hair, who understands and can help me cope with it. And that has helped me come a long way. But we discussed like a routine of like setting the intention and speaking love and light into my hair, saying that it's beautiful. I love every single kink and coil, and setting the vibe, lighting a candle, playing some music, listening to my favorite podcast. And I also make sure that I have like a really yummy lunch on my wash day, or either once I'm done, I treat myself to a really good dinner. Because at the end of the day, it's work, honey. And I deserve a pat on the back for pushing through. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not always easy. Like doing these mini twists on myself took about 6 hours total. So it's work for sure, but I feel like in the end it's worth it. And then of course I always make sure that I give myself a break so that way I don't get burnt out, because as much as I love having my self-care days and, you know, those wash days to really pour love and light into myself, everybody needs a break sometimes. So that's when I hit up my hairstylist and she does the mini twist for me. She does the box braids for me so that way I can get a break. Even my boyfriend jumped on board with it, because during the time where doing my hair was not enjoyable, before I came to terms with it, he was just like, look, you do not need to be going through the struggle. Like, I'll pay for the hair. You know, you want to go get some twists? Get some twists. Here's the money. You know what I mean? So like having people in your life that just like want to see you happy and want to see you thrive with your natural hair is always a good thing. I cut out, you know, the toxic people, the old stylists who, you know, made me feel bad about my natural hair. Those people gotta go. In 2024, we're only being around people who, you know, appreciate the natural coils and want to see you and your hair thrive. So yes, it's been a long journey. I did hate my hair at one point, but now we're loud and we're proud. So if you've been going through it with your 4C hair, or you just went on, you know, a big chop journey and you got a long way to go, believe me, I understand your frustrations, but you just gotta hang tight, keep following the course, and I feel like in the end it's going to work out. Also, I'm not sure if you guys would want to learn about like my 4C hair care routine or anything like that. I can always make a video and kind of get into that if you guys want to. So let me know in the comments. And if there's any other topics about, you know, hair, natural hair care, 4C, you know, your relationships with it that you want me to discuss, feel free to let me know. But yes, that was all I had to say about that. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the podcast. Bye.
I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, take my body in glitter. Platform sneakers are the